Greetings and welcome everybody to the Dr. Jane Live on a Thursday, where we look at various disease states, we look at various nutrients, we look at case studies and amazing ways to realign the human body, the mind, the emotions, and the spirit. We always look holistically, because otherwise we're going to be looking at things in a reductive manner. So we want to always be inclusive and bring everything into the whole. And today we're talking about blood pressure, in particular high resistant blood pressure that doesn't want to come down, doesn't matter what you've tried. And I hope that I will be able to demystify this for you with my recommendations and the 365 Healthy by Choice products, and including the NQB quantum device, which is the newest, recently launched quantum device on the planet. Nothing close to it in existence. It honestly goes beyond belief. And I've had really personal experience with this. Not only high blood pressure, also low blood pressure, because the blood pressure is too low, then that's also as serious. So let's have a look and see what slides are brought forward and how we're going to address this. So get your notepads out, get your pens out, and let's have a look at resistant high blood pressure. And always a pleasure to invite all of you and to have you join me on these wonderful evenings when we talk about health and well-being. So this is the summary slide really that I've put together. Often people arrive and they've tried everything. And honestly, to goodness, they really have. And I just want to share with you what I do and what really helps a lot of people. Remember that cardiovascular disease, blood pressure, it's one of the top 3 disorders responsible for death, using American statistics. So it is very concerning, but more than that, when you've got continued high blood pressure, you can imagine the vessels are stretched and tight, sometimes beyond their capacity. And when that happens, the blood vessels crack, and then the fluid leaks out into the nearby tissue. And that's not good at all. Nobody wants that to happen. And furthermore, it can lead to stroke. So it's very, very, very dangerous. We have to look specifically at what's going on in the body. And the device I use specifically to do that is the Nelson Quantum Biofeedback Quantum Device. And that is a holistic device looking again at physical, neurological, emotional, and spiritual. And that device enables us to do a full assessment, 14,000 frequencies in 3 to 4 minutes, and then to have a matrix put in front of you specifically and unique to that patient or client, because it works with connection to the subconscious of the client. And therefore, it can work in the virtual space simply because the subconscious is everywhere. So we can link up a client at any one moment, whether they are directly there with you in Sydney, Dubai, Moscow, France, United States, South America, Africa, wherever they might be, at that same split second, we're going to get the same reading. And the device works in real time and feeds back a bioresonance to realign the body. And of course, you get a result at the end, percentage improvement. And this is what we do see straight away. There is a reduction in the blood pressure. And other things that can help would be deep breathing. When we're stressed, and stress is a major factor with blood pressure, we tend to breathe very shallowly, just in the very top, almost 1/5 of the lungs. And that's not going to help at all, because the body goes into panic mode, like a fish out of water almost, and starts looking for oxygen. And that's often when people do get panic attacks. So always remember to breathe very deeply, deep breath in and long breath out. That immediately is going to balance your blood pressure because it's going to get your rhythm back, the body's rhythm. So, and I'm going to talk about stress in a moment, but when we're stressed, we get into that fight or flight mode and we start panting and we breathe very quickly, very shallowly. And that's going to raise the blood pressure. Deep breathing you can also do. There's Wim Hof breathing exercises. There's Pranayama, where you do the alternative nostril breathing. And you can build it up from 5 minutes a day to 10 to 15 to 20 minutes, morning and evening if you like. And that will definitely balance your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous system, which is why I like it, because the parasympathetic nervous system is responsible mainly for our rhythm, mainly for digestion, elimination, and circulation. So if we're running from the line all day, the circulation doesn't really have a chance. It's going to be raised, the blood pressure. And similarly, low blood pressure. Exercising is very important, and I would recommend, if your blood pressure is high, to exercise 20 minutes or more morning and evening, because that will definitely bring your blood pressure down, because it releases endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, GABA, etc. And those endorphins, the neurotransmitters, really are responsible for relaxing the body. So beautiful to do exercise. It gets the blood circulation, it gets the toxins out and refreshes every cell, bringing in food and oxygen and energy. Other exercises like yoga, which is heavily based on breathing, shiatsu or similar, will also have the effect. In fact, we've done assessments where we did our blood pressure before yoga, whether it was low or high, and then we did our blood pressure after yoga, after an hour or so, and the blood pressure stabilized. It was absolutely shocking. It was amazing. So there is direct feedback, direct evidence, medical evidence that exercise reduces blood pressure. Now, stress, as I said, is a major factor. So most people who have high blood pressure are very, very, very stressed and low in potassium. The low blood pressure people would be low in calcium and low in joy. So we've got to look at this from both sides. And really putting stress in as a key factor. And you can ask anybody who comes in with very high blood pressure. They're definitely stressed. When you stress, the blood vessels also constrict. So it makes them even thinner. If your diet is not good, your nutrition, let's just talk about that for a moment. If your diet is really fatty, lots of fried food, you're going to have thick pools of oil in your blood. You're going to have most likely plaque on the inside of the vessel wall. So you're going to have not only a narrowed artery, but you're also going to have very thick blood. And that is just a recipe for high blood pressure. And the blood pressure will continue. I had a client today now on 3 blood pressure medications, a relatively healthy guy, about 58 years old, doing all things well, excepting frying his food. And eating a lot of dairy, which is heated oil in any event. So I showed him what was happening, and I showed him what the end result would be, because the vessel would just get narrower and narrower, the blood would just get more and more thick, the blood pressure would keep going up. Eventually, there would be, in fact, he had both. He had raised stroke volume and raised diastolic, the bottom and the top ones. And so he would end up with, long-term down the line, let's say, potentially a stroke and potentially heart failure. So that blood has to get really, really thin. And the vessel must be back to normal size. Get the blood flowing, get the oxygen through, get the nutrition through to the cells, get it absorbed. Very, very, very important. We can't have thick blood. Sometimes we've got complexes and parasites in the blood. Sometimes we've got particles of urea. And all of that's going to thicken the blood and slow it down. You can see this under the microscope in the bright field and the dark field. You can see the thick blood. You can see the parasites moving. You can see the toxins, the protoplasts. the acid. So be very, very aware of the actual quality of the blood. And just getting back to, if those arteries are filled with plaque, it can cause high and low blood pressure because you don't have the elasticity in the blood vessel to regulate your blood pressure. So sometimes you get spiking and sometimes you get, really, really, really low dropped levels of blood pressure. And that's because of that. So I'm going to show you some of the 365 Healthy by Choice products that we use in a moment. And then it's going to help you. So moving then to lifestyle changes. So you could be in a really, really stressful job. You could be in a stressful relationship. You could be living in a house where there's lots of stress, lots of noise, not enough air. Living in a place where it's a concrete jungle. You never see nature. You never hear a bird sing. Going to bed very late, eating very late. Not eating too much, sitting too much. These are all lifestyle changes that you need to make. I can't do that for you, and I can't also change the way you eat. I like the blood group foods because it's an anti-inflammatory way of eating. The science is there, and you can see the evidence directly under the microscope, what happens to the blood. So those are all very important things to take into consideration for sure. Now, moving to the root cause beyond the physical root causes, and that is emotional release. And that's where the anger, the fear, the sadness, the hatred, resentment, jealousies, guilt, abandonment need to be released. We need to trace them to the origin in the generational patterns usually, so they'll be related to childhood and then beyond. And even gestation. We can pick that up with the NQB quantum device from generation, pinpoint exactly. For example, gestation week 3, age 1 year, 14, 23, 24, 49. So those would be repeated patterns of emotions, the same emotion, the same mental construct. The mental constructs get passed through, and we also develop them in our current life. So we have to remove those because we will never get 100% blood pressure otherwise. We need that inner alchemy to transform us once we let go of the anger. Typically, a client right now, very, very, very low blood pressure, very angry with his father who passed when he was 9, also very, very upset and sad. His twin brother died at birth, and some more. But this was enough to put this man into severe low blood pressure, cardiac failure. And, we've tried to resurrect him almost out of the grave, and we've succeeded because I've done the work. I've done the how work. I've done EMDR with him and helped him relax, helped him to stop the mental factors, stop the traffic that's going through the brain, the rationalization all the time, the not good enough, I haven't done enough for my current family, etc., whatever set the mental construct off. So I just want to press upon you, we know how to do it. We do it successfully. And one of the clients that comes to mind, very resistant, high blood pressure, and after the 30-minute HOW process, in the quantum, the blood pressure dropped 30 points, and it stayed low. So that shows you the inner alchemy. The client self-transformed, knew they're transformed, felt the peace, felt the joy, felt the inner strength, and was evidenced by direct measurement with the blood pressure machine. Also, heart, brain amplitude. Also, let's say a very low brain amplitude. After 30 minutes, the brain amplitude, the wavelength going through the brain normalized, which means out of the blue, the neurotransmitters spontaneously came into action. For example, the client felt happier, more harmony, more love, brought the heart into coherence. So this is a very beautiful process, and there's many emotional release processes, reconstructive healing that we do as well. So other things that help, for sure, plant-based diet. Meat is very acidic, and acid body is really going to be out of alignment. And, you know, there you're going to have to look at the amount of red meat you eat. But honestly, really, if you're acidic, you know, with a high blood pressure, with parasites, you're just a reservoir for disease and disorder. So plant-based diet is far more alkalinizing, which is far more harmonizing on the body. Grounding is amazing, and it's measured, because grounding will increase the electrical charge of the whole body, including every cell and the red blood cells. So then they keep apart. That distance between the cells is called the zeta potential, and earthing and grounding will do that. Even if I'm sitting here with my earthing mat and I'm touching it, it's as if I'm on the ground outside, and my red blood cells and the rest of my cells are open. The advantage of open red blood cells is you're not getting clotting, and therefore the blood can flow. All we want is good blood flow, a nice alkaline body, lots of oxygen, a good probiotic, a good flaxseed oil, cold pressed, a good almost gold, for example, a good proteins, the replica RNA, DNA, the 5 protein blocks for the entire body. So that will come into it. We've got to be in the ground. It will charge us. So will the photons from the sunlight charge us and heal us. And we've done many studies where we've looked at the blood before grounding. People have gone outside and stood on the ground and chatted and done whatever they wanted to do, bare feet on the ground, come back in after half an hour, and the red blood cells are parted. Simple as that. Eating the non-inflammatory foods, your blood group, before and afterwards, we get a result under the microscope. So these are repeatable, evidence-based, measured results I'm speaking about, and the subsequent blood pressure drops. Sometimes iodized table salt, which is sodium chloride, is not a good idea. It's unstable. Himalayan salt, a complete salt, would be much better. And it's got lots of minerals, and minerals charge the body and get the flow of blood. Very, very important. And then there's also acupressure points. The belly button's a good one. The back of the neck here, it's also a good one to release pressure, very much at the back of the neck, because when we're stressed, we tend to clench our jaw, the TMJ joint locks, and then we constrict the vessels and the flow. And at the back of the neck here, most people, if you put your pressure there, you'll lower the blood pressure, and around the belly button too, on the way up to the heart. If you get the main artery and you push on that repeatedly and hold it, you will stop the blood flow and then release. It will bring the blood pressure back to normal too. But only professionals can do that. So let's have a look at some of the 365 products now that we use in addition to all of these. And I'm telling you, if you do this, you'll come right. In fact, I've got some people where they do these things and the high blood pressure becomes low blood pressure. And then we restabilize them back to normal blood pressure. So what we use here with the 365 Healthy by Choice range, pure, natural, and unique. The first one is the blood pressure and vessel cleanse. And if I just go to the next slide, you'll see here what it's got in it. And all of these potentiate each other and get a massive effect. And I've called it blood pressure and vessel cleanse because it's going to balance you whether you're high blood or low blood. So the Chanca Piedra works in a decalcifying way, and it's called Stone Breaker, and it will help clear away the thick arterial plaque. Sometimes that can take a good 3 months, I'm just going to tell you, because plaque is very hard. Imagine coral in the sea. It's quite hard, and it's hard to break that away. So Chanca Piedra is specifically in there to cleanse the arteries. It doesn't only work there, it will work across the whole body. If there's calcification in the prostate, the brain, the bones, the cells, it will clear calcification. The more you become alkaline with a zeolite, the less chance you've got of calcifying. Truffle is a marvelous one because it's 3 enzymes, 3 natural fruit enzymes, and enzymes are definitely going to keep the blood thin. That's for sure, but it's natural and it's naturally thin. The other one we use is the nattokinase. So we've got the truffula, which is the 3 enzymes, and it conditions the blood and the gut, by the way. And we've got the nattokinase. You would not use these if you're on a blood thinner. I'm just going to say that, a Disprin, a warfarin, or something like that. You would either or. You wouldn't want to do both. And they will make the blood thin for you. The kelp is important because kelp will help emulsify fats. And by doing that, the blood gets thinner. The other major product that's not on this list is our gallbladder flush, because 9 times out of 10, high blood pressure, high fat in the blood go together. And the gallbladder flush enables the liver to cleanse, the bile to flow, and then the digestion improves and the oil emulsifies, and you get a lowered blood pressure. So clients have to send me their blood pressure reading daily in the beginning, because there'll come a point when, you know, their blood pressure tablets are not useful anymore. The blood pressure's balanced, normalized, and they need to go to their doctor to have the discussion there. So kelp removes oil, gallbladder flush removes oil because the bile flows, which is amazing. And then things like bee pollen, antioxidant, and again, clearing the blood, cleaning the blood, which enables the blood to flow. Green tea, the same, also antioxidant. Turmeric also. So I've put 3 of them in there to do this. The other thing bee pollen does is it is a precursor to messenger RNA, and it will help digest unwanted protein in the body, but in the blood as well. The ginseng will help calm us, which is a stress reliever. MSM is the solid form of DMSO, and we also use the DMSO for sure. MSM, DMSO, and that's methyl sulfonyl methane, and the DMSO is dimethyl sulfonyl oxide, DMSO. This is the plant tree sap in its true form. It's liquid, and then it dries into forming the MSM. These are amazing because the sulfur aspect will detoxify the body. Both of them are free radical scavengers, and once you start cleaning up via an antioxidant way, you will then thin the blood naturally as well. So critical. Medicinal mushrooms important, especially for supporting the heart and circulation. The reishi, chaga, shiitake, lion's mane, cordyceps, maitake, coriolis, all very good for conditioning the blood, cholesterol management, and heart management, and kidney management, which goes with the heart. And often once we get the blood to its normal consistency, full of oxygen, alkaline, then you find that the kidney heals as well, and you don't get that terrible swelling in the ankles and the edema. Pomegranate's a massive antioxidant as well, known to reduce and lower naturally blood sugar pressure. Citrus bioflavonoids, another antioxidant, so that's wonderful to decrease the thickness of the blood. Cacao with all its antioxidant effects as well, and echinacea. So there's 2 more that I want to bring in, and that, or maybe more, but the cell oxygen I definitely want to bring in, and the DMSO. So I would like you to go to my website and have a look at cell oxygen and DMSO. These are the cell oxygen capsules: magnesium dioxide, and the dimethyl sulfoxide as well. So both of them are bringing in oxygen, and oxygen is an oxidant, and it's also a scavenger, and it will clear free radicals as well. So it works differently because an antioxidant will share electrons. An oxidant pulls the electron off the free radical, releasing all the particles and rendering them inactive. So there's two ways to naturally thin the blood. So those are very important. And also the Ormus Gold, which is it's a transducer, the superconductors of electricity. And that gets us back to grounding, because grounding and earthing are the same as what minerals do for the body. They give the cells charge. Once the cell has got a charge, they're not going to touch each other. They can't. So nor can the red blood cells, and therefore we get a free-flowing blood. So the Ormus Gold, silver, copper, nickel, platinum, palladium, osmium, iridium, ruthenium, etc. They're 10 platinum precious metal minerals, superconductors, keep the blood cells apart. Then you don't get your clotting. You get the free flow of oxygen carried through, and the nutrients, and then the wastes from the cell released. So all of this is very, very important to get the blood pressure balanced, and to get the let's just go back to this one, to get the blood naturally thin. Chanca Piedra on its own, I do have that one here. It is in the blood pressure and vessel cleanse, but also individually, if there's a very, very big calcification problem, brain, vessels, blood arteries, prostate, cells, then we would bring Chanca Piedra in additionally on its own. The decalcification flush is just one of our two marvelous products, because it's got the MSM inside it with other salts. And you take this in water, it's fizzy, you add lemon juice, it's really delicious. And this one here is going to regulate blood pressure for you as well, most definitely, simply by bringing back the elasticity of the blood vessel. And that's what the Chanca Piedra does. So both of those are good, especially together in very acute situations. And then we've got our stress adaptogens, which has got 5 major stress adaptogens in it: rhodiola, ashwagandha, Siberian ginseng, and those kind of products to stabilize the stress, to reduce that stress. And adaptogen is beautiful because it just works naturally with the body, coming in when it's needed to, backing off when it's not needed. So I think this is a very tight way of getting the body into homeostasis and balancing blood pressure. And then just to show the slide again, to bring in these lifestyle changes. And that is my high-low Mackenzie quantum well-being compass. So people will come in for the assessments, get the unique protocol, if you like, for blood pressure, how to stabilize it, get the nutrients that they need to do that, and then get the result we're looking for. So if you want to buy these products, there is the shop, the online shop website address, and there is the booking the center. So you can shop and book at the center on the same site. And that's what's going to bring you that kind of luck. Very important to just consider what I'm saying and understand the body is a very sensitive organism, very responsive to stimulation, very responsive to earth changes, to weather, and it will react. Very responsive to emotions. And that's why it's always very important that we are in our stable centered point. And that's what I try to share with people and guide people along their path of self-discovery and knowing who they are. Otherwise, we get into this absolute tism turmoil. And we don't know which way to look. And all we're doing is repeating our patterns. The blood pressure is staying high or the blood pressure is staying low. And in addition, could be blood sugar for that matter, could be weight, could be parasites. So we want to unravel that, demystify it, simplify it, bring it into its natural, authentic space, and work from our centered point. So I hope I've helped you demystify blood pressure, and I look forward to your comments and other things that you want to share with me, along the line. If there's anything you want to share, you can put it in the chat. Otherwise, I will see you next week.